Okay. So this is Mayo and Tax's Heresy 2.5. I do not know if that's like done by the same people who do Mayo and Taxes in general, but it's like MNT was a cool mod. MNT 2.0 was the best thing ever, but oh, it chugged. MNT Heresy 2.5 chugs for the first few years, and then it's, in my experience, a little bit smoother. I'm still terrible at it, because I'm bad at video games, but since I've discovered MNT 2.5, I figure I want to play it. I poked a bit at it a little yesterday, getting myself back up to kind of how it works. It's an overhaul mod for Europa Universalis. If you're not familiar with it, it pretty much changes everything about how the game works. It puts way more countries, way more provinces, shuffles things about so that, like, for example, here, where you'd have massive countries that cover a lot of wasteland area, now you kind of have these smaller countries and the wastelands are bigger, and there's, like, trade routes through the wastelands that you can march your armies along, like straits over oceans. It's really cool. Like, you have all these little... Zoom in here, you see you have all these little Genoan exclaves. And it starts earlier. I think it runs later also. So, who am I going to play? I don't know. I'm going to hit rando until I get someone I like. In my test plays, I played Trois Évêchés, which I think means the three bishoprics, and I got my ass handed to me because when I was in a war that I was winning with Luxembourg and Lorraine, Luxembourg inherited Brabant, and at that point my army was very badly in. I'd wiped Luxembourg's army, I'd wiped Lorraine's army, but I was out of manpower and had like 2,000 men. I'd sieged down the places I needed to siege. I was just, wrapping the war up, and Brabant rolls in with like 5k and wipes me. And then I played another game down here as Buganda, and learned the hard way that in MNT 2.5 Heresy, humiliation wars let you take territory. So in both games, I got full annexed relatively early, like around 1365, 1370 or so. But I learned some important lessons. So let's hit rando a few times, see what how much rando hates me. See if I get anything that looks interesting. Brabant. Hey, remember how I was just talking about how Brabant fucked me over? Brabant starts at war against Flanders in the Louis de Malais War. I don't know if I want to start in war. We'll consider Brabant. The Mamluks. So this could be interesting. 1356 is kind of the height of Mamlukian power, if I remember my history correctly. So coming out of this is when the Mamluks begin their decline. So it could be interesting to try to secure enough as the Mamluks to kind of fight that decline. Maybe spread my control a little more firmly through this region. Maybe take out the Jalarids, get myself this Iranian area. I think Mamluks beats over Brabant, but I'm not sold, so I'm gonna... If I don't see something I like, we'll come back to the Mamluks. Zanzibar. Hey, let's be this teeny tiny guy on this teeny tiny coast. The Swahili on the Swahili coast. No. I do not feel Zanzibar. Virl, no. I don't like playing in the HRE in this mod. Back here again. Now that I'm looking at it, It could be interesting long term to be Zanzibar. I mean, there's not a lot of variation in how we go, but at the same time, there's not a lot of things we need to worry about. We only really have 2 neighbors we need to worry about. And we can focus on improving ourselves, taking ideas, maybe going like colonization-wise. It's a thought. No, I still think I like Mamluk more than Zanzibar. Cyprus, nah. Palembang, nah. You know what? Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do Zanzibar. I'm like, no, I like Mamluks more. I'm so, fickle. Zanzibar just, it sings to me. It seems to me, yeah. And as usual, I play Iron Man because I don't like handling save files. Live with it. Not going to get anything here. You can see all the little red bits from where I failed. I could go back to Buganda, but it's only a few days before I died, so my prefix for mayo and taxes. And then we are Zanzibar. Let's go and see how terribly this runs. Pretty much just running M&T Heresy with the Theatrum Morbis the TOT map mod, which I really like. I love how the wastelands kind of creep in on the borders, so it kind of suggests that we occupy this territory and then we claim a little bit of territory we could never actually occupy because it's effectively uninhabitable. Creates this sort of sensation that it is within man's nature for his reach to overextend his grasp. And there's this kind of blurring of colors along the borders, suggesting a sort of de facto dispute. Because, this is the 14th century. You're not going to have the fence along the border between the U.S. and Mexico. So, the Sultanate of Zanzibar, 1356. So, Ethiopia is experiencing a golden age. Okay, so that's all dealing with stuff to the north of us. Probably not my problem. We're Sunni, so we get trade power abroad, missionary strength, our devotion and legitimacy drop every year, as does tribal unity. So that's a thing to worry about, I think. We'll have to look for other ways to prove our devotion and to prove our legitimacy. We have piety, ranging from mysticism to legalism. Sunni, Shia, and Ibadi are the religions. We have schools. Apparently I don't have a school right now. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be in the mod. We are a sultanate, so we're a monarchy. And there's no region-wide mechanics in this region. Okay. So just before we unpause, and we're going to need to do a lot. We're actually going to need to wait a while and let the game chug when we unpause, but I want to take a look before I do and just get a sense. So the Mamluks are up here. I've turned off owned wastelands because I find it's really annoying, like these wastelands, if I have them on, I'll right-click here and it won't do anything. So this way we can see the Mamluks have the Nile and they have the coast, but this area no one lives in, no one controls it. It would be cool if you could get bandit raids or something event-wise, but that, on second thought, that's probably frustrating. And then you have this tribal area here, and you can see there's the trade route that goes from the Nile into the tribal area. I love those. Then we come down here. Is there a connection from Sawakin down to Masawa or Hamasien. Handanawa and Ayab. Handanawa. And which one? Ayab. That's up there. So yeah, there's actually not a connection between the Mamluks and Medrabari. Yeah. That's probably good for Medrabari. And we have Ethiopia. They're gonna probably become a pretty significant power. This is a bit before EU4 starts, so they're not the massive power they are at the start of EU4 normally. And of course we have some of the other Somali states. You get here, you have Kilwa. Kilwa's big. Kilwa's strong. We got the East African nations, kind of in the Zimbabwe area. And our back is covered by the massive Maziwa Maku wasteland. So, what have we got in our territory? Well, it's not really much point in looking at our stuff before the calculations. So let's get our trade set up, because I think that's going to be pretty simple. Yeah, we have one trade area we can touch. So I'm pretty sure we're just going to be collecting here in the East African coast. That dude can go collect. Have fun, Makame Kawawe. Do your thing. And then, diplomat-wise, well, we can upgrade our troops out the gate. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So Kilwa and Ajuran don't like me. Ajuran's all the way up there. That leads to an interesting thing. Like, I thought maybe expand into Mombasa and such, but if Ajuran's angry and Kilwa's angry, you guys hate each other. You're rivaled with Mombasa. Rivaled with Malindi, so we're really only going to get one of them. And you're rivaled with Mombasa. So if we go with Mombasa and Pate, then that will give us some allies, and we can focus on kind of expansion south into Kilwa, securing this coastline. Pate will pull us into wars with Ajuran, probably. Let's offer an alliance to Pate. And wait a day. Okay, pop-ups. Give me all the formidable nations. We've reached our alliance limit, so we won't be able to get our second alliance until all the calculations get through. Let's keep the natives. I like the natives. All the stuff is teleported in. Yay. These are all galleys. Let's keep them in place. You can join in too. Wait, these two dudes. We're losing 2.9 a month. For the time being, let's just ditch our army maintenance. We'll go back up in a bit. Likewise, I think for the time being, we'll mothball our fort. Just so we have some money. Money's super important. We're gonna just run nice and slow for a bit. Until this stuff populates. Oh, you had you drop things. You want my provinces. Oh, don't want my provinces. Come on now. So what we're doing is we're waiting for international importance. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be average, so we can get another one. If not, then I backed the wrong horse. Because I'm pretty sure Mombasa is better than Pate. Yep. Give me the initializations. Group them up. Galleys aren't super useful, but I don't think really there's any other boats at this particular time in our region, so... Because you're all galleys too, right? Yeah. And we have the biggest fleet. Well, I guess if we can't get another ally, that still opens up Mombasa as a possible target to smack into. We should rival our rivals. I forgot to do that earlier. I like all of the news pop-ups. And it's been a few days. Do we have our relevance set up yet? Uncertain succession. Duchy. Forget where you check that. Oh, let's take a look at our... oh, I also have historical immersion, which I'll deal with. Our culture gives us bonuses too. Our primary culture gives us national manpower, land attrition, and aggressive expansion impact, but worsens institution spread and centralization. Well, that's good. I am the host. We are not going to be getting things like that, so let's or we're not going to be dealing with inheritances, and Pate is kind of far away, so we can probably be fine to marry them, get the alliance thing up, and while we're here, kick some improvements with them in a couple days. I said it chugs at the beginning. I can turn up the speed probably. I just don't want to miss the chance to ally Mombasa when the international significance is calculated. Because I'm fairly certain I'm going to qualify for 2 allies. We can improve. And look there. Mombasa alliance. I thought so. Which means we should see development, education level. Where do I see my importance? Oh well. Wait, what? We can have 3 alliances? Okay, something weird. Where do I find this? Interregnum Chaos. Somewhere we should be able to see. Our significance. Before I accept this, I just want to take a peek. Okay. Sure. I accept. I'm allied with all 3 people to the north, which commits me to going south, but oh well. Does that mean that we have our... Good, it looks like things are set in. Wonderful. So it looks like we've got the tribes and the nobles. Ugh, I don't like tribes. But we can embrace an institution. And I think it's pretty much mandatory that I do this. Yeah. I am embracing legalism out the gate. No way, no how am I not embracing legalism. That's going to give us a wonderful tech advantage. So in these things, let's trigger that. I don't need to see this stuff. Don't need to see that. Don't need to see these. Don't need to see those. Don't need that. What we'll do here. Really? Is there a reason not to? Autonomy change +1. We're a feudal monarchy now. Okay. Historical route weather events, good. Take our 4K men, be happy. We have our 7K fleet. You're allied with Mombasa also. So that's probably not an alliance that's going to last very long. I think we want to still make sure we can check my tech, make sure I can do things. Yeah, I have enough tech that I can fabricate claims, so let's build spy networks down in Kilwa. Because this is where I want to be. I just want this entire coast. Make all the money. And check that all my estates are set up. They are. So let's take a peek real quick. Get our starting situation. Nobility. What's going on with the nobility? So there's no regiments in reserve here. They have some privileges. So we've got commoners banned from the Army Corps, which is gonna hurt a little. Decorative officer posts. So that's hurting our tech cost, that's hurting our discipline. High tax exemption lessens our income. And expansion of local autonomy. Okay, so that hurts our income too. Our tribals. So there's a tribal host we can pull up somehow. I'm still not entirely certain how I do that. I come here and click recruit regiment. That's not a tribal province. Yeah, I'm not really sure how I get the tribal reserves out, but somehow I can do that. Is there an option here? Yeah, so there's 3 more troops I can somehow pull out of the tribals. I'm not sure how, but if I can figure that out, that gives me a good chunk of dudes. Then from the state, I think they may come out in a defensive war for state. So we can check our stability. We get 14 points a year, so we're looking at about 10 years. Yeah, 9 or 10 years until we get a stability. We don't really have any discretionary expenses. We got a good development level, respectable court, average education. We don't have any arts and culture. We don't have any urban production. Our estates. We have some effective tax rates. Looks like we're effectively pulling in like 0.1 ducats from the tax and 0.4 from the trade, so not a lot coming in there. So we're going to need to work on that somehow. Our court, it looks like it's improving, so we don't really need to do anything here, right? Yeah. Looks like we're okay on our court. Education, it looks like it's improving also, so probably don't have to do anything there. Timber management. Oh, this is a new thing. We'll deal with that in a bit, I think. We don't need to dispatch runners because we've just done everything. Okay, we're almost done understanding where we stand. Let's just look at our provinces. Know what we have. So Zanzibar, we've got some buildings that have been built by the people. They've got their own mosque, marketplace, some rural infrastructure, and a fishing port. So that's some good stuff. Our primary good is slaves. There's some tribal settlement, which is reducing autonomy. I think our current autonomy is, yeah, so it's dropping. Controlled by the nobles. Tribes present. We've got some local wealth. Some low-quality urban infrastructure. Produce mundane goods. Prosecuted animists. Tolerated Ibadi, tolerated Shia. It's our capital. Got 97,000 folk here. Mostly rural. We got the Malindi Harbor. Our urban gravity. Oh. What's our urban gravity? 2.9. So I'm expecting that over time, Zanzibar is going to become more urbanized, which will be good for us. That'll give us a bit more money. Pembe Kiswani here is all rural. It's only 62,000 people. It also produces slaves. Autonomy is increasing here. There's some ivory coming out. Maybe if we poke up our... if we find some way to improve our ivory production, things will probably increase. As far as words. As far as ivory, maybe we can shift it from slaves to ivory. I don't know if that's a thing. And we also produce slaves in Zanzibar Paya, which has poor farming efficiency and poor urban infrastructure. Ugh. $92,000 people. Autonomy here is stable at 59%. So the autonomy, what's changing the autonomy here? Communication efficiency. It's rapid, not superb, right? This is superb, yeah. And it's probably rapid because we don't control that strait. So if we got control of this strait, we could probably improve things. But we're going to end up at war with them eventually. Not immediately, but eventually. So let's go ahead, let some time pass. Public services we're losing some money on. We're rooting out some corruption. It's increasing a little bit. Oh yeah, I want all of those things. Venice is leading trade, historical religions, historical migration. We can turn that off. Point our favorite. And I think we'll probably kick the legitimacy up. Oh, we get the legitimacy in either case. Prestige. Yeah, I'll take the nicest one for the prestige. Abu Bakr. You're nice, Abu Bakr. Malindi. Sure, we'll Royal Marry Malindi. I won't Royal Marry Mombasa, I don't think. Albria is our new queen. Abu Bakr's better than we are, and he's almost of age. Al-Hassan ibn Suleiman Kilwa. Is that really my name? Sultan Al-Hassan ibn Kilwa. Okay. Al-Hassan. That's another reason for you to die, is I can not pronounce your name. So, lots of heirs got introduced. Okay. So they've upped themselves to having 5 fleets. You're my ally, right? No, you're not. I could only have 2, and when I asked you, you went with Kilwa. So you're allied with Zanzibar, and you're allied with Zanzibar. So you are going to be an early lunch. And you're hiding in Mombasa, so I can't see how many dudes you have. I want to see how many dudes you have. Abu Bakr's going to be a conqueror. Nice. The reign of Abu Bakr is going to probably be great. Our queen's craven. We no longer have uncertain succession. Oh, you've got 3K. Great. Let's take a moment here, sail down to the Zanzibar Strait, see if we can't buy Kilwa's army, because Kilwa's the one I'm worried about. He's going to judge how big of an army I feel I need to build. Looks like they've got 3K up here in, what's that, Mafia? Yeah, in Mafia. And we'll go ahead and sail down to Mahajanga Bay and see if there's any more dudes hanging down in the south of Kilwa. Right? Yes. Actually do it would be, I'd appreciate if you'd actually go. Okay, it hangs a bit for the first couple years because it needs to do a lot of calculations. Get all the populations, get all the trade goods, get all the communication routes established. We may have some communication route issues along this way. Building a road could be a valuable idea in the future. Yeah. So it looks like the 3K. So we're realistically going to be facing 6K dudes. And you've got 5, that's fine. Any other allies? You're just allied with Mombasa. So I've got 8 swinging around with my allies, if I can get my allies in. So this war, we can probably get my allies in. Trade. So what do I think I'll do? I think as far as... Let's take a look at what people want. So Malindi wants everything. Will it hurt our relationships significantly if I want Tonga also? Because I want Tonga. I want Tonga so I can connect Pembekiswani through the strait. And then I just want, like, everything on the coast. Mozambique, that's a cute little island. Yeah. So, that way I can, you know, just be the Swahili on the Swahili coast. Take everything. I suppose I should look at culture. Because culture is where things are. So we're all... This hill thing, yeah. This is all the Swahili culture group. Yeah. So we'll be fine as far as that goes. It's a different culture, but it's all Swahili, so we should be fine. We can probably embrace them. Your culture's Kimango. So because you're Kim Gao, we get some unrest because of that, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. And then the stuff here that our allies are, and we're all Kyungnuja. Okay. And then it also kind of goes down here too. So we'll focus on getting Swahili. If we get all the Swahili, that's good. Once we've used our allies to kind of guard our northern frontier and take in the south, we can kind of turn around and cannibalize our allies. Maybe we'll have a good friend in Ethiopia or something that we can turn to. Then I think our goal will continue to be kind of locking down the north. Well, there's a little bit of... Yeah, so the African East Coast goes there too, so... Probably try to grab Ajiran. Some of the Somalis. And then I guess I'm not sure what we'll do then. I mean, that's a big ask in MNT to take the entire east coast of Africa. But I think it's going to be a goal. Probably by that point we're going to have to deal with Europeans. Ugh, Europeans. Terrifying. I love this mountain pass. Is there lots of crossings over this mountain pass here? To Mayat, yeah. So see that, so this mountain here, this mountain range here in this wasteland, what's it called? Somalia. So this Somalian wasteland that runs along here, it's not really a wasteland because there's, you know, paths that cross. You just kind of have to learn them. We don't have too many problems here because the wasteland we're looking at is massive, and I am 90% certain if we look through our stuff. Yeah, our straits cross the water, so we don't have any wasteland issues to worry about. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any at all. Let's see. Yeah. We're not going to have any wasteland issues at all for a while, so we don't need to worry too much. But when we get further along, like here, for instance, there's a strait across Maziwa Maku to Turkana. Turkana's over here, above this water. So there's a strait through the wasteland here. I think Turkana's uncolonized, if I remember correctly. So, as we start expanding into the northern part of the East Coast, which is going to be a while, it's not a priority, we may start being concerned about paying attention to the interior. Troubles could come from there. I love how these little tiny things, like, it's very realistic that we say screw the interior and just grab these coasts, and just have this long, narrow coastline like we do here. I really do think we're going to need to worry about roads. Let me take a... We don't need to worry about it now, but I just want to try and get a sense of roads. Because roads improve communication. So when it comes to constructing roads, I want to get a sense of what I'm expecting. Because we're definitely going to need roads. It's going to be a long, narrow country. Roads are going to be important. I think the harbors will help, but... Oh, it's gonna... Looks like it's... Oh, 337. Yeah. So we're looking at probably 400 or 500 ducats per province for the road network. I mean, when we start conquering, we'll see how much the Zanzibar Strait and the Mahajanga Bay help communications-wise. Yeah. Because, I mean, the coast of Mombasa looks like that's where the harbor is for both for both Zanzibar and Pembeke Swani. I haven't learned the names yet, that's why I have to keep checking. And we only have, you know, rapid communication, so I hope that we can get rapid communication across the Zanzibar Strait, especially if we like reposition our capital to something like Zanzibar Pia, which has its harbor, it looks like, in the Zanzibar Strait. We can find out where these harbors are. Do that. No, don't want to do that. I want you to go to. Yeah. So we got Zanzibar Strait for Zanzibar Paya, and then Costa Mombasa for Zanzibar itself. We can see that it has to sail to the other water province before it can land in Zanzibar, which is irritating because they're so close together. One would think you'd just go, oh, out, in, but we have to go out, over, in. It's a little silly that these two have harbors on different sea zones. So that means that we're probably looking at rapid communication for all of here. And we may have a couple communication hits in the south, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal, especially if we can keep our fleets strong. I'm not sure how that works. I know communication's important, because as we saw, we have an autonomy kicking up. Oh. The Quran exhorts Muslims to wipe out idolaters, yet this is not always feasible or convenient. Swahili rule now extends over a large number of pagans who worship strange gods. Wiping them out could be costly and difficult. It might be more prudent simply to tax them. There's a precedent of sorts for sparing them. Sharia law commands tolerance towards monotheists such as Christians or Jews. These dhimmi are allowed to practice their religion in return for a heavy tax called the jizya, or an even heavier blood tax, devsirm, which enslaved their firstborn sons, a boon to the army but unpopular amongst ordinary Muslims. We might be able to find some ulema who are willing to find similarities between these heathens and Islam, or perhaps we should simply try to convert them all to the one true faith. So we can declare their religion idolatry, get some missionary strength. Do we have... So we don't really need missionaries. So missionary strength is probably not relevant, but it does move us towards fanaticism. We can get them to pay the jizya, which will give us a bonus to tax income, or we can make them pay the diversum, which loses us a legitimacy and gives us a bonus to infantry cost. Let's take a moment to check out fanaticism, because that's going to be our big question. Okay. So we have church influence. The more influence we have, the more missionaries we have, the more expensive it is to do admin tech, and the worse our money. So currently, yeah, piety. So fanaticism, it's cheaper stability, better morale. Secularism, cheaper technology. So tech's important long term. Short term, it's important that we... So the question is, do I want to shift towards fanaticism? Get some better army morale. We're planning on war in about 10 years, so I think we declare it to be idolatry. Persecute those native peoples. Well, we are native peoples. Persecute the heathens. There we go. I don't need a new favorite. Our favorite is great. Let's go ahead and introduce our heir while we're at it. Get his claim strength up. He's got an average claim right now. He's pretty good. He's a conqueror. Better at us in everything. Still says Farima Braves are better. We don't have access to Farima Braves. Unless you think the skirmishers, but I want to be on the offensive, man. I'm not making much money. It's forts maintenance. Fleets maintenance is also a thing. We're losing money, actually, it looks like. According to that. Not quite sure how I feel about it. So we can have one more dude, but it's going to drive us down in money. So let's not build him until we're getting ready to go to war. So as far as you are concerned, Melindy, we get a favor with you every year. So it'll be 68 that we're good to go with you. Pate, it's the same. So 68. So 1369, I guess, is when we're going to be pushing our war, unless war comes to us sooner. I think we can I think we're fine if war comes to us sooner. We can blockade Zanzibar so that people can't cross. Strait. Where's the strait crossing? Because that'll determine where we want to camp our fleet. The strait crossing is in the Zanzibar Strait. So we want to camp out in Zanzibar Pia so that it's faster to get out into the Zanzibar Strait and block the strait crossing. And we want to block the strait crossing because our troops are not at morale. And that will mean that we can block the strait crossing, crank our troops up, and protect everything. Protect everything, yeah. While our morale recovers. And then we have the 7K fleet, so we should be able to kick the ass of these fleets. Yeah, any of these fleets we should be able to handle. Especially if our allies come help. We should have dominance along the sea here, is what I'm saying. And that will give us, hopefully, an ability to kind of drop our troops where they aren't and siege and avoid direct confrontation. I think that might be a good idea. Try to avoid direct confrontation in favor of sieges. Okay, it looks like our autonomy is finally starting to drop up in Pembe Kiswani. That's good. We are not making much money. That's unfortunate. I would like to get some advisors. Do I want to put myself into debt to get a military advisor? Buona Sciacchiadato. This colonel. It's mercenary stuff. I don't care about mercenaries. It is +1 military, which will get us to this military tech faster. Do I already have an idea? I didn't check that. Logistic ideas. Ooh, we have a military idea group. Shipbuilding. Artillery bonus versus forts. That doesn't help us in the short term. Supply trains. I'll check that in a moment. Coastal harassment. Regimental. This is pretty nice. I think with that consideration, I am going to burn money on getting Buana here. So let's see. Our court spending has increased to an impressive court. I see. That means that we can probably afford to cut our court spending. We're not actually funding our court, so we can't. Crap. Crapola. Question. Friends. Do I have anything here to protect trade? No. May as well have an admiral, though. Well, I don't think you're super helpful, but that'll be fine. An admiral's an admiral. We have another free diplomat. I suppose what we do with our diplomat is we get ourselves some power projection. And we do that by embargoing our rivals. Okay. And then we will improve the relations with Malindi. Malindi and Pate have very similar flags. Kind of everyone along this region does. Whoever did it first, everyone else was like, ooh, we like that. And the kill was like, no, we have to be special. I think we neighbor everything along the Zanzibar Strait, so we can probably get claims on all of that. On Mafia. So what do we want claim-wise on you? So Mafia here is shit. I don't care about Mafia. Mizizima looks pretty nice. And Matwara can feed us. I like both of them. Yeah. So we'll take the land. I guess we may as well take Mafia too, just so they don't have somewhere that they can stage invasions from. But Mafia is not really a high priority. It's not great, it doesn't look like. Out of curiosity, how persecuted are our people? The animists are on fire. Okay. So, patience. Patience, patience. Everyone knows that's my worst trait. And we're losing money. That is going to be an interesting question of value. So Tech 5 here is going to give us +2/5 land morale. 63 is when we're going to get that presently. This here, we're going to get in 60. So that means in 60, we can take one of these and hit that tech in 65. Recruitment time. Do I care about recruitment time? It'll give us innovativeness, which will reduce. I think, so if it still gives us innovativeness, that'll probably be the better idea. See, this is the one I want. Siege ability is going to be wonderful. And improved foraging, the reduced land attrition along with our natural cultural thing, we're looking at nothing. So here's our. So familial system, yeah, lesser aggressive impact, half land attrition. I don't know if those, that's 5%, so 0.5%, so 5.5%, that's still pretty nice. So cheaper ideas from knowledge from the outside. Swahili language gives us some diplomatic reputation. We can burn through that. And the Indian Ocean trade is helping us with cheaper ships when that happens. The Legend of Ali ibn al-Hasan Shirazi will give us some true faith tolerance and prestige per development from missionary. Cool. Indian trade. Ooh. Me likey. Trade him. I like these ideas. I like these ideas. So we're doing logistics right now. Cold year. That's unfortunate. So trade ideas are probably going to be a great second idea. It'll sync well with all this other stuff. Trade ideas give us trade efficiency, trade power, trade range, another merchant, provincial trade modifiers, another merchant, and global trade power again, with a capstone of more merchants. And I think with that trade range, I mean, Zanzibar here, trade comes in and then goes out. And actually the trade comes back. So, yeah, if we can secure some good trade holds, we can really lock in money on the Swahili coast. That's going to be so good. I think that's kind of our, I don't know how far out of range are these other areas. So I want to kind of hit you, I think. No, actually our trade comes in from there, so I don't need to worry. It's down here that the trade's leaving as we go down. So if we secure control over the coast, that shouldn't be a big deal. We'll go ahead and enforce Sharia law strictly for now. So this stuff from Monomotapa is just coming in. So I don't think we need to worry too much about Monomotapa, which is 202 away. So it's a little bit away. Then here it looks like the trade is coming in from the Gulf of Aden, which is 188. So we can definitely pull from the Gulf of Aden. We want to kind of find this trade node over here that trade's coming in from. Pull from there. And then maybe do some collection down at the south when that opens up. No! We're losing base tax because of... I think we're going to have to fire this dude. I think we have to fire you, man. Am I okay with losing a ducat a month? If I kick him out, we're going... So that's 63. So I'm just going to rough this. That's 4 years, 12 a year, that's 48. Which will give us, that's 48 that he's making, which will be, let's say, 50. That's like 10 more months. That's another year. So if we fire him, that's going to put another year on the clock. But that's also 48 ducats, which we can't afford. It's not quite 48 ducats, but roughly all of our money. Is all of our money worth saving a year on the tech? No, it's not. Sorry, Buana. All of our money is not worth saving a year on the tech. Especially since I don't intend on going to war for a while. Yeah, so we've got food shortages everywhere, though, so we're not the only ones getting hit by that. I do like those pearls.